Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the stillness around you. You might think you're sitting still, but you're not. Right now, at this very second, you are moving at over 1,000 miles per hour as Earth spins on its axis. You're also orbiting the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour, and the entire solar system is racing through the galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, yet you feel nothing. No wind in your hair, no sense of motion, just perfect, absolute stillness. This is the first great paradox of our planet. We live on a world in constant, violent motion, yet we experience it as peace. The air you're breathing right now contains atoms that were once breathed by dinosaurs, by ancient trees, by the first bacteria that ever lived. Every breath connects you to the entire history of life on Earth. The oxygen molecules entering your lungs have cycled through this atmosphere for billions of years, endlessly recycled, endlessly renewed. You are breathing ancient air, air that has witnessed everything. Earth is not a static rock. It is alive in ways we rarely consider. It breathes, it moves, it hums with energy we cannot see or hear. Tonight we slow down. We explore the quietest, most peaceful aspects of our home, the places and phenomena that remind us that despite all the noise of human civilization, Earth itself operates on timescales so vast, at speeds so slow, that they inspire a profound sense of calm. Fact 1. The deep ocean's silence. Imagine descending into darkness. The sunlight fades first to blue, then to deep indigo, and finally to absolute black. You are sinking into the abyssal plains of the ocean, the vast flat expanses of the seafloor that cover more than half of Earth's surface. Here, at depths of 13,000 to 20,000 feet, the pressure is crushing, hundreds of times greater than at the surface, yet it is also one of the most peaceful environments on the planet. The abyssal plains are among the flattest places on Earth. Sediment has been settling here for millions of years, smoothing out the terrain into gentle rolling hills, covered in a fine layer of mud. This mud is made of the remains of tiny organisms that lived and died in the sunlit waters above, drifting down like snow in an endless silent fall. It accumulates at a rate of about 1 centimetre every 1,000 years. The seafloor you would touch if you could reach it is a graveyard of microscopic shells, a record of life written in layers of ooze. Down here, there is almost no sound. Sound travels well through water, better than through air. But in the abyss, there is little to make noise. No waves crash, no currents rush. The water is cold, just above freezing, and it moves slowly, almost imperceptibly. The creatures that live here have adapted to the stillness. Many are blind, having no use for eyes in a world without light. Others produce their own light through bioluminescence, creating brief, ghostly flashes in the darkness. But mostly, the abyss is silent and still. The pressure at these depths is extraordinary. At 15,000 feet, the pressure is about 450 times greater than at sea level. This would crush a human instantly, collapsing lungs and rupturing cells. But the creatures here are built for it. Their bodies are filled with water, which is incompressible, so they feel no discomfort. To them, this crushing pressure is normal, even comforting. Fish glide slowly through the darkness, their movements economical and deliberate. Sea cucumbers crawl across the mud, feeding on the organic matter that drifts down from above. Everything moves slowly here. There is no rush. Time itself seems to stretch and slow. Scientists who study the deep ocean often describe it as the most alien environment on Earth. It is more hostile to human life than the surface of Mars, yet it is also strangely serene. The abyss is a place of profound quiet, a reminder that most of our planet exists in darkness and silence, far from the noise and light of the surface. When you think of Earth, You might picture forests and mountains, cities and fields, but the true face of Earth is this: cold, dark, silent water, stretching for miles in every direction, pressing down with the weight of the entire ocean. It is a place of peace, a place where life has learned to exist in the slowest, quietest way possible. Fact 2. The slow drift of continents beneath your feet. The ground is moving. Not quickly, not in any way you could ever feel, but it is moving nonetheless. The continents drift across the surface of the Earth at about the same rate your fingernails grow, roughly 2 to 4 centimeters per year. This is the process of plate tectonics, the slow, inexorable dance of the Earth's crust. The Earth's outer shell is broken into massive plates. Like pieces of a cracked eggshell, these plates float on the semi-molten rock of the mantle below, driven by convection currents, slow, churning flows of hot rock rising from deep within the planet and cooler rock sinking back down. The plates move in response to these currents, grinding past each other, colliding, pulling apart. Over millions of years, this movement reshapes the entire surface of the planet. 200 million years ago, all the continents were joined together in a single supercontinent called Pangaea. If you could have stood on the shore of Pangaea, you could have walked from what is now New York to what is now Morocco without crossing an ocean. But Pangaea began to break apart, splitting along rifts where the crust was weakest. The Atlantic Ocean opened up, slowly at first, then widening over millions of years as the Americas drifted west and Europe and Africa drifted east. Today, the Atlantic is still growing, expanding by about an inch per year. In 50 million years, it will be significantly wider than it is now. This movement is so slow that it is invisible to us. You will never feel the ground beneath you shift. You will never see the continents move. But they are moving, constantly, relentlessly. The Himalayas are still rising, pushed upward by the collision of the Indian and Eurasian plates. Mount Everest grows about 4 millimeters taller each year. The San Andreas Fault in California is slowly dragging Los Angeles towards San Francisco. In about 15 million years, they will be neighbors. There is something deeply calming about this slowness. The Earth operates on timescales so vast that human lifetimes are irrelevant. Empires rise and fall, civilizations come and go, but the continents drift on, indifferent to our brief existence. The ground beneath you has traveled thousands of miles over the course of Earth's history, and it will travel thousands more. You are standing on a raft of rock, floating on a sea of molten stone, moving so slowly that it seems eternal. This is the pace of the planet, patient, unhurried, unstoppable. Fact 3. The Earth's heartbeat, the Schumann resonance. The Earth has a heartbeat. It is not a heartbeat in the biological sense, but it is a rhythm nonetheless, a low-frequency electromagnetic pulse that circles the globe, resonating in the space between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere. This is called the Schumann resonance, and it beats at approximately 7.83 Hz, a frequency so low that human ears cannot hear it. The Schumann resonance is created by lightning. Every second, somewhere on Earth, lightning strikes about 50 times. Each strike sends out a pulse of electromagnetic energy that travels around the planet, trapped between the conductive surface of the Earth and the conductive layer of the ionosphere, about 60 miles above. These pulses overlap and interfere with each other, creating standing waves, resonances, at specific frequencies. The strongest of these resonances is at 7.83 Hz, though there are weaker resonances at higher frequencies as well. This frequency is remarkably close to the frequency of certain brain waves in humans. Alpha waves, which are associated with relaxed meditative states, occur at 8 to 12 Hz. Theta waves associated with deep relaxation and light sleep occur at 4 to 8 Hz. Some researchers have speculated that the Schumann resonance may have influenced the evolution of human brainwave patterns, though this remains a topic of debate. What is certain is that this frequency has been present for as long as Earth has had an atmosphere and lightning, which means it has been humming in the background for billions of years. You cannot hear the Schumann resonance, but you are immersed in it. It is all around you, a constant, gentle pulse that has been called the heartbeat of the Earth. Some people believe that this resonance has a calming effect on the human nervous system, that it helps synchronize our biological rhythms with the planet itself. There is limited scientific evidence for this, but the idea is compelling that we are tuned on some deep level to the electromagnetic song of our home. The Schumann resonance is a reminder that Earth is not a dead rock. It is electrically active, alive with energy. The atmosphere crackles with lightning, the ionosphere glows with charged particles from the sun, and between them the planet hums. This hum is ancient and constant, a rhythm that has persisted through ice ages and mass extinctions, through the rise and fall of countless species. It is the sound of the Earth itself, a low, steady pulse that will continue long after we are gone. Fact 4. The ancient ice cores of Antarctica. In the heart of Antarctica, buried beneath miles of ice, lies a record of Earth's climate stretching back nearly 1 million years. Scientists have drilled deep into the ice sheet, extracting long cylinders of ice called ice cores. These cores are time capsules preserving tiny bubbles of ancient air, layers of dust, and chemical signatures that tell the story of our planet's past. Ice accumulates in Antarctica slowly, layer by layer, as snow falls and compresses into ice. Each layer represents a single year, like the rings of a tree. By counting these layers, scientists can determine the age of the ice. The deepest ice cores ever drilled reach back 800,000 years, capturing air from a time when our ancestors were just beginning to use fire, when the world was locked in a cycle of ice ages and warm periods. The air trapped in these ice cores is a direct sample of the ancient atmosphere. When snow falls in Antarctica, it traps tiny pockets of air between the snowflakes. As the snow compresses into ice, these pockets are sealed off, preserving the air exactly as it was when the snow fell. By extracting this air and analyzing it, scientists can measure the concentrations of carbon dioxide, methane, and other gases in the atmosphere hundreds of thousands of years ago. What these ice cores reveal is a planet in constant slow flux. The climate has oscillated between cold glacial periods and warmer interglacial periods, driven by subtle changes in Earth's orbit and tilt. Carbon dioxide levels have risen and fallen in sync with these temperature changes, though they have never in the past 800,000 years been as high as they are today. The ice cores show us that Earth's climate is sensitive, responsive to small changes, but also resilient, capable of recovering from dramatic shifts. There is something profoundly peaceful about the ice itself. Antarctica is the quietest continent on Earth. There are no trees, no animals making noise, no human cities, just ice, wind, and silence. The ice sheet is so thick, over 2 miles in some places, that it presses down on the bedrock below, deforming the Earth's crust. The weight of the ice is immense, yet it sits there, patient and still, holding within it the memory of nearly 1 million winters. To stand on the Antarctic ice is to stand on a library of climate history, a frozen archive of the planet's breath. Fact 5. The bioluminescent bays. On certain quiet nights, in certain sheltered bays around the world, the water glows. Not with reflected light from the moon or stars, but with its own light, a soft blue-green luminescence that seems almost magical. This is bioluminescence, the light produced by living organisms, and it is one of the most beautiful and calming phenomena in nature. The glow comes from tiny plankton called dinoflagellates. These microscopic organisms contain a chemical called luciferin, which reacts with oxygen in the presence of an enzyme called luciferase, producing light. The dinoflagellates emit this light when they are disturbed by a wave, by a fish swimming past, by a hand trailing through the water. The result is a cascade of tiny sparkles, millions of individual organisms lighting up in response to movement. Bioluminescent bays are rare. They require specific conditions: warm, shallow water, protection from strong currents, and a high concentration of dinoflagellates. Some of the most famous bioluminescent bays are found in Puerto Rico, Jamaica, and the Maldives. In these places, on a dark, moonless night, you can wade into the water and watch as every movement you make creates a trail of light. Fish dart through the water, leaving glowing streaks behind them. Waves breaking on the shore light up with a soft, ethereal glow. The light itself is cold. It produces almost no heat, unlike the light from a fire or a light bulb. This is one of the most efficient forms of light production in nature, with nearly 100% of the energy going into light rather than heat. The glow is gentle, not harsh or blinding. It is the kind of light that invites you to slow down, to move carefully, to appreciate the quiet beauty of the moment. Bioluminescence is not unique to dinoflagellates. Many creatures produce light: fireflies, deep-sea fish, certain fungi, even some bacteria. But the bioluminescent bays are special because the light is so abundant, so responsive to touch. It is as if the water itself is alive, aware of your presence, lighting up to greet you. Scientists believe the dinoflagellates produce light as a defense mechanism to startle predators or attract larger predators that might eat the creatures trying to eat them. But to a human observer, the purpose doesn't matter. What matters is the experience: the quiet night, the warm water, the soft glow that surrounds you like a living constellation. These bays are fragile. Pollution, coastal development, and climate change threaten them. The dinoflagellates are sensitive to changes in water quality, and their populations can crash if conditions shift. Protecting these places requires care and restraint, a willingness to let nature exist on its own terms. But when they are healthy, bioluminescent bays are a reminder that Earth is full of wonders, quiet and beautiful, waiting to be discovered by those who take the time to look. The Earth does not rush. It moves in cycles so vast, so slow, that they are invisible to human perception. Water evaporates from the ocean, drifts as clouds, falls as rain, and returns to the sea, a journey that can take days or thousands of years. Forests grow, die, and are reborn over centuries. Mountains rise grain by grain, then erode back into the sea. Tonight we explore these patient rhythms, the slow cycles that have sustained life on this planet for billions of years. Fact 6. The water cycle's ancient journey. Every drop of water on Earth is ancient. The water you drank this morning, the water in your cells, the water in the ocean, it has all been here for billions of years, cycling endlessly through the planet's systems. Water does not leave Earth. It simply changes form, moving from ocean to atmosphere to land and back again in a cycle that has no beginning and no end. The water cycle begins with evaporation. The sun heats the surface of the ocean, and water molecules gain enough energy to break free from the liquid and become vapor. This happens constantly, all over the world. Every day the sun lifts about 1,000 cubic kilometers of water into the atmosphere, enough to fill 400 million Olympic swimming pools. This water vapor is invisible, but it is everywhere, mixed with the air you breathe. Once in the atmosphere, water vapor rises and cools. As it cools, it condenses around tiny particles of dust or salt, forming droplets. These droplets gather together to form clouds. Clouds are not solid. They are collections of billions of tiny water droplets or ice crystals suspended in the air. A single cumulus cloud can contain hundreds of tons of water, yet it floats effortlessly because the droplets are so small and light. Eventually, the droplets in a cloud grow large enough to fall. This is precipitation: rain, snow, sleet, or hail. When rain falls on land, it begins a long journey back to the sea. Some of it soaks into the soil, where it is absorbed by plant roots or filters down into underground aquifers. Some of it flows across the surface, gathering in streams and rivers that carry it back to the ocean. This journey can be quick. A rainstorm in the mountains might send water rushing to the sea in a matter of hours. Or it can be slow. Water that seeps deep into the ground can remain there for thousands of years before it resurfaces. There is something profoundly calming about the water cycle. It is a closed system, perfectly balanced. The same water that fell as rain on the dinosaurs is still here, still cycling through the planet. You have almost certainly drunk water that once flowed through the Nile, that once filled the lungs of a whale, that once froze in a glacier and melted 10,000 years later. Water connects all life, all time, all places. It is the most patient substance on Earth, endlessly recycled, never created, never destroyed. Fact 7. The quiet growth of ancient forests in the temperate rainforests of the Pacific Northwest. Trees grow that have been alive for over 1,000 years. These are the old-growth forests, ecosystems that have never been logged, where trees have been growing, dying, and regenerating for millennia. To walk through an old-growth forest is to enter a world that operates on a timescale utterly different from human life. The dominant trees in these forests are often Douglas firs, western red cedars, and Sitka spruces. Some of these trees are over 300 feet tall and 10 feet in diameter. They grow slowly. A Douglas fir might add only a few inches to its height each year, and even less to its girth. But over centuries, this slow growth accumulates into something monumental. A tree that is 800 years old has been growing since the Middle Ages, long before European explorers ever set foot in North America. These forests are quiet. The thick canopy of leaves and needles absorbs sound, muffling the noise of the outside world. The air is cool and damp, filled with the scent of moss and decaying wood. Sunlight filters through the canopy in soft, diffuse rays, creating a greenish twilight even in the middle of the day. The forest floor is carpeted with ferns, mosses, and fallen logs in various stages of decay. The fallen logs are crucial to the ecosystem. When a tree dies and falls, it does not disappear. It becomes a nurse log, a source of nutrients for the next generation of trees. Seedlings sprout on top of the log, their roots growing down into the decaying wood. Over decades, the log slowly breaks down, consumed by fungi, insects, and bacteria, releasing its nutrients back into the soil. By the time the seedlings have grown into mature trees, the nurse log has vanished completely, leaving only a row of trees standing on what looks like stilts, their roots arching over the space where the log once was. Old-growth forests are among the most biodiverse ecosystems on land. They support hundreds of species of plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms, many of which are found nowhere else. The forests are also incredibly efficient at storing carbon. The massive trees lock away tons of carbon in their wood, and the thick layer of organic matter on the forest floor stores even more. These forests have been absorbing carbon for centuries, quietly helping to regulate the planet's climate. There is a deep peace in these forests. They are places where time moves slowly, where change is measured in decades and centuries rather than days and weeks. To stand among these ancient trees is to feel small, but also connected to something vast and enduring. The forest will outlive you, just as it has outlived countless generations before you. It is a reminder that the earth is patient, that life finds a way to persist, to grow, to endure. Fact 8. the migration of monarch butterflies every year. Millions of monarch butterflies make one of the most remarkable journeys in the natural world. They travel up to 3,000 miles from their breeding grounds in Canada and the northern United States to their wintering sites in the mountains of central Mexico. This migration is not made by a single butterfly, but by several generations, each one playing a part in a journey that spans continents and seasons. Monarchs that emerge in late summer are different from those born earlier in the year. These are the supergeneration, butterflies that live not for a few weeks, but for up to 8 months. They do not reproduce immediately. Instead, they begin to fly south, guided by an internal compass that responds to the angle of the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. They travel slowly, covering about 50 to 100 miles per day, stopping to feed on nectar from flowers along the way. The journey is perilous. Monarchs face predators, storms, and the simple exhaustion of flying thousands of miles. Many do not survive. But those that do eventually reach the Oyamel fir forests in the mountains of Michoacán, Mexico. Here, at altitudes of 10,000 feet, the climate is cool and stable, perfect for overwintering. The butterflies cluster together on the trees, covering the branches so densely that the trees appear to be draped in orange and black. In these forests, the monarchs enter a state of semi-dormancy. They do not feed much, and they barely move. They are conserving energy, waiting for spring. On warm days, they may flutter down to drink water from nearby streams, but mostly they remain still, clustered together for warmth. The sight of millions of monarchs covering the trees is one of the most beautiful spectacles in nature. A living tapestry of wings, silent and still. When spring arrives, the monarchs wake, they mate, and then they begin the journey north. But these butterflies will not make it all the way back to Canada. They will fly a few hundred miles, lay their eggs on milkweed plants, and then die. Their offspring will continue the journey, flying farther north, laying eggs, and dying in turn. It takes 3 or 4 generations to complete the northward migration, each generation traveling a portion of the route, guided by instincts inherited from ancestors they never met. The monarch migration is a testament to the power of slow, patient processes. No single butterfly makes the entire journey. Each one plays a small part, and together, over generations, they accomplish something extraordinary. It is a reminder that great things can be achieved not through speed or force, but through persistence, cooperation, and the quiet passage of time. Fact 9. The formation of stalactites and stalagmites deep underground in the darkness of limestone caves. Water is slowly building structures of stone. Stalactites hang from the ceiling like icicles, and stalagmites rise from the floor like stone pillars. These formations grow so slowly that they are measured in centuries and millennia. A stalactite might grow only a fraction of an inch per century, yet over time, they create some of the most beautiful and intricate structures in nature. The process begins with rainwater. As rain falls through the atmosphere, it absorbs carbon dioxide, becoming slightly acidic. When this acidic water seeps through the soil and into the ground, it dissolves limestone, a rock made primarily of calcium carbonate. The water, now carrying dissolved minerals, drips into underground caves. When a drop of water reaches the ceiling of a cave, it hangs there for a moment before falling. In that moment, a tiny amount of carbon dioxide escapes from the water into the air of the cave. This causes a tiny amount of calcium carbonate to precipitate out of the water, forming a microscopic ring of stone. Drop by drop, over thousands of years, these rings build up, forming a hollow tube that grows downward. This is a stalactite. If the water drips all the way to the floor, the same process happens in reverse. Calcium carbonate precipitates out where the drop lands, building up layer by layer to form a stalagmite. Over time, If the cave remains stable and the water continues to drip, a stalactite and stalagmite can meet in the middle, forming a column that stretches from floor to ceiling. The formations are incredibly delicate. They can be broken by a careless touch, and once broken, they cannot be repaired. The growth is so slow that a formation destroyed in a moment might take 10,000 years to regrow. This is why caves with stalactites and stalagmites are often protected, their locations kept secret or access restricted to preserve them for future generations. There is a profound stillness in these caves. The air is cool and damp, and the only sound is the occasional drip of water echoing in the darkness. The formations themselves are silent, growing imperceptibly, grain by grain. To stand in a cave and look at a stalactite is to witness the work of millennia, the patient accumulation of stone, one drop at a time. It is a reminder that the earth builds slowly, that beauty does not require haste. Fact 10. The Great Barrier Reef's slow construction. The Great Barrier Reef, off the coast of Australia, is the largest living structure on Earth. It stretches over 1,400 miles and is visible from space, yet it was not built by any single organism, nor was it built quickly. The reef is the work of billions of tiny coral polyps, each one no larger than a fingernail, working together over thousands of years. Coral polyps are simple animals related to jellyfish and sea anemones. They have soft bodies and tentacles that they use to capture plankton from the water. But what makes them remarkable is their ability to build. Each polyp secretes calcium carbonate, the same mineral found in limestone, forming a hard skeleton around itself. When the polyp dies, the skeleton remains, and new polyps build on top of it. Over time, layer upon layer, the skeletons accumulate, forming the massive structures we call coral reefs. The growth is slow. A coral colony might grow only a few centimeters per year, depending on the species and environmental conditions. Some corals grow faster, some slower, but even the fastest growing corals take decades to form a structure large enough to notice. The Great Barrier Reef as it exists today has been growing for about 8,000 years, since the end of the last ice age when sea levels rose and flooded the continental shelf. The reef is not a single solid structure. It is a complex mosaic of thousands of individual reefs, separated by channels and lagoons. Each reef is home to an astonishing diversity of life. Fish of every colour and shape dart among the corals. Sea turtles glide through the water. Sharks patrol the outer edges. The reef is a city of life, built slowly, patiently, by creatures that live and die in the span of a few years, yet contribute to a structure that will outlast them by millennia. Coral reefs are fragile. They are sensitive to changes in water temperature, acidity, and pollution. When stressed, corals expel the symbiotic algae that live in their tissues and give them their colour, a process called bleaching. Without the algae, the corals starve and die. The Great Barrier Reef has experienced several mass bleaching events in recent years, a stark reminder that even the most enduring structures on Earth can be vulnerable. But there is also resilience. Corals can recover from bleaching if conditions improve. New polyps can settle and grow. The reef has survived changes in sea level, temperature, and ocean chemistry over thousands of years. It is a testament to the power of slow, steady growth, and to the importance of protecting the processes that sustain life on this planet. Fact 11. The silence of the desert at night. Deserts are often thought of as harsh, lifeless places, but at night, when the sun sets and the temperature drops, the desert transforms. The heat of the day dissipates into the clear sky, and a profound stillness settles over the land. The desert at night is one of the quietest places on Earth. During the day, the desert is a place of extremes. Temperatures can soar above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, The ground is too hot to touch. Most animals hide in burrows or in the shade of rocks, waiting for the heat to pass. But when the sun sets, the desert comes alive. The air cools rapidly, and creatures emerge from their hiding places. Kangaroo rats hop across the sand searching for seeds. Owls hunt from the branches of Joshua trees. Snakes slither through the darkness, their heat-sensing pits guiding them to warm-blooded prey. But despite this activity, the desert remains quiet. There are no forests to rustle in the wind, no rivers to babble, no dense vegetation to absorb and scatter sound. The landscape is open and sparse, and sound travels far. A coyote's howl can be heard for miles. The hoot of an owl echoes across the empty space. But between these sounds, there is silence, deep, profound, and absolute. The sky above the desert is spectacular. With no cities nearby to produce light pollution, the stars are brilliant. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light. On a moonless night, you can see thousands of stars, planets, and even the faint glow of distant galaxies. The silence of the desert and the vastness of the sky combine to create a sense of awe, a feeling of being small in the face of something infinite. Deserts are also places of patience. Life here is adapted to scarcity. Plants like cacti and succulents store water in their tissues, surviving months or even years without rain. When rain does come, the desert explodes with life. Seeds that have lain dormant in the soil for years suddenly germinate. Flowers bloom in a riot of color, covering the ground in a carpet of yellow, purple, and red. The bloom lasts only a few weeks, and then the desert returns to its quiet, patient waiting. There is a lesson in the desert's silence. It teaches us that stillness is not emptiness, that quiet does not mean lifeless. The desert is full of life, but it is life that has learned to wait, to endure, to survive on very little. It is a reminder that the earth is resilient, that even in the harshest environments, life finds a way. Beneath the surface of the ordinary world lies a realm of hidden wonders. Forces we cannot see shape our lives every moment. Magnetic fields guide migrating birds across continents. Underground rivers carve cathedrals in stone. Fungi connect entire forests and silent communication networks. Tonight we explore the invisible architecture of Earth, the hidden systems that sustain life in ways we are only beginning to understand. Fact 12. The Earth's magnetic field, our invisible shield. You cannot see it, feel it, or hear it, but right now you're surrounded by a magnetic field that extends thousands of miles into space. This is Earth's magnetosphere, an invisible shield generated deep within the planet's core. It protects all life on Earth from the constant stream of charged particles flowing from the sun, the solar wind. The Earth's magnetic field is created by the motion of molten iron in the outer core, about 1,800 miles beneath your feet. The core is incredibly hot as the surface of the sun, and the iron is liquid, constantly churning in massive convection currents. As this electrically conductive liquid moves, it generates electric currents, and these currents create magnetic fields. This process, called the geodynamo, has been operating for billions of years, maintaining Earth's magnetic field through countless ages. The field itself resembles the field around a bar magnet, with field lines emerging from the South Pole, arcing through space, and re-entering at the North Pole. But the magnetosphere is not symmetrical. On the side facing the sun, the solar wind compresses it to about 40,000 miles from Earth. On the night side, the field stretches out into a long tail that extends millions of miles into space. Without this magnetic shield, the solar wind would strip away Earth's atmosphere, just as it has stripped away most of Mars's atmosphere over billions of years. The charged particles from the sun would bombard the surface, making it difficult for complex life to survive. But the magnetosphere deflects most of these particles, channeling them around the planet. Some particles do make it through, particularly near the poles, where the field lines converge. When these particles collide with atoms in the upper atmosphere, they create the aurora, the northern and southern lights. The magnetic field is not constant. It fluctuates in strength and direction. The magnetic poles wander slowly across the surface, and every few 100,000 years, the field reverses completely. The North Pole becomes the South Pole and vice versa. The last reversal happened about 780,000 years ago, and we are overdue for another. During a reversal, the field weakens significantly, though it never disappears entirely. Life has survived many reversals in the past, and it will survive the next one. There is something deeply reassuring about the magnetic field. It is a reminder that Earth is not a dead rock, but a living, dynamic planet with a molten heart. The field has been protecting life for billions of years, silently, invisibly, asking nothing in return. It is one of the planet's greatest gifts, a shield we never see but could not live without. Fact 13. The mycelial networks, the wood wide web beneath the forest floor, hidden from sight, lies a network more complex than any human-made internet. This is the mycelial network, a vast web of fungal threads that connects trees, plants, and soil organisms across entire forests. Scientists have nicknamed it the Wood Wide Web, and it is one of the most remarkable examples of cooperation in nature. Fungi are neither plants nor animals. They are their own kingdom of life, and they play a crucial role in ecosystems. The part of a fungus we usually see, the mushroom, is just the fruiting body, the reproductive structure. The main body of the fungus is underground, consisting of thread-like structures called hyphae. These hyphae grow through the soil, branching and spreading, forming a dense network called a mycelium. Many fungi form symbiotic relationships with tree roots, a partnership called mycorrhizae. The fungus wraps around or penetrates the tree's roots, and the two organisms exchange resources. The tree provides the fungus with sugars produced through photosynthesis. In return, the fungus provides the tree with water and nutrients, particularly phosphorus and nitrogen, that it absorbs from the soil. The fungal network is far more extensive than the tree's roots alone, effectively expanding the tree's reach by hundreds or even thousands of times. But the network does more than just help individual trees. It connects multiple trees together, allowing them to share resources. If one tree is shaded and struggling to photosynthesize, neighboring trees can send it sugars through the fungal network. Mother trees, large, old trees at the center of the forest, have been observed sending resources to their offspring, helping young seedlings survive in the dim understory. The network can even transmit warning signals. When a tree is attacked by insects, it can send chemical signals through the mycelium, alerting neighboring trees to produce defensive compounds. The mycelial network is ancient. Fungi have been forming these partnerships with plants for over 400 million years, since plants first colonized land. The network is also incredibly resilient. Even if parts of it are damaged or destroyed, the mycelium can regrow, reconnecting the forest. The network operates continuously, silently, transferring nutrients and information in a slow, patient exchange that has been happening since long before humans walked the earth. Walking through a forest, you are walking on top of this hidden network. Every step you take is above miles of fungal threads, connecting thousands of trees in a silent conversation. The forest is not a collection of individual trees competing for resources. It is a community, a cooperative network where trees help each other survive. This is one of nature's most beautiful lessons. that life thrives not through competition alone, but through connection, cooperation, and mutual support. Fact 14. The caves of crystals, underground cathedrals deep beneath the Chihuahuan Desert in Mexico. In a mine nearly 1,000 feet underground lies one of the most extraordinary places on Earth, the Cave of Crystals. This cave contains some of the largest natural crystals ever discovered, giant beams of selenite, a form of gypsum that can be over 30 feet long and weigh more than 50 tons. The crystals formed over an immense period of time, roughly 500,000 years. The cave sits above a magma chamber, which heated groundwater to temperatures around 136 degrees Fahrenheit. This hot water was saturated with minerals, particularly calcium sulfate. For hundreds of thousands of years, the conditions remained stable. The temperature, the mineral concentration, the stillness of the water. In this perfect environment, crystals began to grow, molecule by molecule, atom by atom. Crystal growth is an extraordinarily slow process. The selenite crystals in the Cave of Crystals grew at a rate of only a few micrometers per year. But over 500,000 years, this slow accumulation created structures of breathtaking size and beauty. The crystals are perfectly transparent, with smooth, flat faces that reflect light in brilliant flashes. They cross the cave in every direction, forming a three-dimensional lattice that looks more like a work of abstract art than a natural formation. The cave was discovered in 2000 by miners drilling for silver and lead. When they broke through into the chamber, they found a scene that seemed impossible, a cathedral of crystal glowing in the light of their lamps. But the cave is also incredibly hostile to human life. The temperature inside is around 136 degrees Fahrenheit, with humidity near 100%. Without special cooling suits, a person can survive in the cave for only about 10 minutes before succumbing to heat exhaustion. The crystals are fragile despite their size. They're formed in water, and they are stable only in the hot, humid environment of the cave. If exposed to air for too long, they begin to dehydrate and crack. This is why the cave has been kept sealed and access is strictly limited. The crystals are a natural wonder, but they are also a reminder of how delicate and specific the conditions for such beauty can be. There is a profound stillness in the Cave of Crystals. The air is thick and hot, and the only sound is the occasional drip of water. The crystals themselves are silent, monuments to the patient work of time and chemistry. To see them is to witness the result of 500,000 years of slow, steady growth, a reminder that the most beautiful things on Earth are often those that take the longest to create. Fact 15. The deep biosphere, life beneath the seafloor. Life exists not just on the surface of the Earth, but deep within it, miles beneath the ocean floor, in cracks and pores in the rock. Microorganisms live in conditions that seem utterly inhospitable. This is the deep biosphere, a hidden realm of life that may contain more biomass than all the life on the surface combined. These microorganisms live in total darkness under immense pressure, with no access to sunlight or oxygen. They survive by metabolizing chemicals in the rock, hydrogen, methane, sulfur compounds, extracting energy from chemical reactions that would seem impossibly slow and inefficient. Some of these organisms divide only once every 1,000 years. They live in a state of near stasis, their metabolisms running at the absolute minimum rate necessary to sustain life. The deep biosphere was discovered relatively recently in the 1990s, when scientists began drilling deep into the ocean floor and analyzing the rock cores. They found microbial DNA in rocks that were millions of years old, buried miles beneath the seafloor. At first, it was unclear whether these microbes were alive or just fossilized remnants. But further studies showed that they were metabolically active, slowly consuming nutrients and reproducing at rates measured in centuries. The conditions in the deep biosphere are extreme. Temperatures can reach 250 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. The pressure is crushing. There is no light, no oxygen, and very little organic matter. Yet life persists. These microorganisms have adapted to survive on almost nothing, eking out an existence in one of the most extreme environments on Earth. The deep biosphere may be enormous. Estimates suggest that it could contain as much as 70% of all the bacteria and archaea on Earth. If true, this means that most of the planet's microbial life is not in the oceans, not in the soil, but deep underground, living in the cracks and pores of the rock itself. This hidden realm is a reminder that life is far more resilient and adaptable than we often imagine. There is something humbling about the deep biosphere. These organisms live in conditions we can barely comprehend, on timescales that dwarf human lifetimes. They do not need sunlight, do not need oxygen, do not need anything we would recognize as essential for life. They simply exist, slowly, patiently, in the dark depths of the earth. They are a testament to the tenacity of life, to its ability to find a way even in the most unlikely places. Fact 16. The aurora of the sky's slow dance on certain nights in the far northern and southern latitudes. Curtains of green, pink and purple light ripple and dance across the heavens, moving in slow, graceful waves. This is the aurora, the northern lights in the Arctic, the southern lights in Antarctica, one of the most beautiful natural phenomena on Earth. The aurora is created by the interaction between the solar wind and Earth's magnetic field. The sun constantly emits a stream of charged particles, mostly electrons and protons, that flows outward through the solar system. When these particles reach Earth, most are deflected by the magnetosphere, but some are funneled along the magnetic field lines toward the poles, where the field lines converge and dip down into the atmosphere. When the charged particles collide with atoms and molecules in the upper atmosphere, primarily oxygen and nitrogen, they transfer energy to those atoms. The atoms become excited, and when they return to their normal state, they release that energy as light. Oxygen emits green and red light, while nitrogen emits blue and purple. The specific colors depend on the altitude and the type of atom involved. The aurora occurs at altitudes of about 60 to 200 miles above the Earth's surface, in a region called the thermosphere. The lights can stretch for hundreds of miles across the sky, forming arcs, bands, and curtains that shift and change shape. The movement is slow and fluid, like watching waves on the ocean or smoke rising from a fire. The aurora can last for minutes or hours, depending on the strength of the solar wind. Auroras are most common during periods of high solar activity, when the sun releases bursts of particles in events called coronal mass ejections. These bursts can cause geomagnetic storms, which intensify the aurora and push it farther from the poles. During strong storms, the aurora can be seen as far south as the northern United States, or as far north as southern Australia. The lights move slowly, silently, with a grace that seems almost alive. Indigenous peoples of the Arctic have many stories about the aurora. Some say it is the spirits of ancestors dancing in the sky, others that it is a bridge to the afterlife. Modern science has explained the mechanism, but it has not diminished the wonder. The aurora is a visible reminder of the invisible forces that surround us, a light show created by the interaction of the sun, the earth, and the vast emptiness of space. Fact 17. The tides. The moon's gentle pull twice a day. The ocean rises and falls in a rhythm as old as the moon itself. This is the tide, the slow, predictable movement of water driven by the gravitational pull of the moon and, to a lesser extent, the sun. The tides are one of the most reliable phenomena on Earth, a rhythm that has shaped coastlines, ecosystems, and human cultures for millennia. The moon's gravity pulls on the Earth, and because water is fluid, it responds to this pull more readily than solid rock. The water on the side of the Earth facing the Moon is pulled toward the Moon, creating a bulge. At the same time, the water on the opposite side of the Earth is pulled less strongly, creating another bulge. As the Earth rotates, different parts of the planet pass through these bulges, experiencing high tide. The areas between the bulges experience low tide. The sun also affects the tides, though its influence is weaker because it is much farther away. When the sun, moon, and Earth align during a new moon or full moon, the gravitational pulls combine, creating especially high and low tides called spring tides. When the sun and moon are at right angles to each other during the first and third quarters of the moon, their pulls partially cancel out, creating weaker tides called neap tides. The shape of the coastline, the depth of the ocean, and the presence of bays and estuaries all affect how the tide behaves. In some places, like the Bay of Fundy in Canada, the tidal range can be over 50 feet. The water rises and falls by the height of a 5-story building twice a day. In other places, like the Mediterranean Sea, the tidal range is only a few inches. The tides have shaped life on Earth in profound ways. Intertidal zones, the areas between high and low tide, are some of the most productive ecosystems on the planet. Organisms that live here must be able to survive both underwater and exposed to air, adapting to a constantly changing environment. Barnacles, mussels, sea stars, and crabs all thrive in the intertidal zone, taking advantage of the nutrients brought in by the tide. There is a deep calm in watching the tide. It moves slowly, inexorably, governed by forces beyond human control. You can set your watch by the tide, plan your life around it, but you cannot change it. It is a reminder that the Earth is part of a larger system, connected to the moon and the sun, moving in rhythms that have persisted for billions of years. The tide is patient, reliable, eternal, a slow dance between the Earth and the heavens. There are places on Earth that seem untouched by time, ancient lakes that have existed for millions of years, rock formations shaped by wind and water over eons, forests that have stood since before recorded history. These are the timeless places, landscapes that remind us that the Earth operates on scales far beyond human comprehension. Tonight, we visit these eternal landscapes and discover the peace that comes from witnessing something truly ancient. Fact 18. Lake Baikal. The ancient eye of Siberia, in the heart of Siberia, surrounded by mountains and taiga forest, lies Lake Baikal, the oldest and deepest lake on Earth. It is 25 million years old, a remnant of ancient geological forces that tore open a rift in the Earth's crust. The lake is over a mile deep at its deepest point, and it contains more water than all of North America's Great Lakes combined. It holds roughly 20% of all the fresh water on Earth's surface. Lake Baikal is not just old, it is alive in ways that few other lakes can claim. It is home to over 1,700 species of plants and animals, 2/3 of which are found nowhere else on Earth. The lake has its own species of seal, the Nerpa, the only freshwater seal in the world. It has unique fish, sponges, and amphipods that have evolved in isolation for millions of years. The lake is an evolutionary laboratory, a window into how life adapts and diversifies over deep time. The water in Lake Baikal is extraordinarily clear. In some places, you can see down over 130 feet, deeper than in most oceans. This clarity is due to tiny crustaceans that filter the water, consuming algae and organic matter. The lake is so clean that in winter, when it freezes, the ice is transparent, like glass. You can walk on the frozen surface and look down through meters of crystal clear ice to the water below. Winter transforms Lake Baikal into a landscape of surreal beauty. The ice forms in massive sheets, sometimes cracking with sounds like thunder, as the lake expands and contracts with temperature changes. The cracks create pressure ridges, walls of ice that can be 30 feet high, jutting up from the frozen surface like miniature mountain ranges. The ice itself is filled with bubbles, methane gas released from the lake bottom, frozen in place as it rises. These bubbles create patterns in the ice, like abstract sculptures trapped in glass. The lake is sacred to the indigenous Buryat people, who have lived on its shores for thousands of years. They call it the Sacred Sea, and believe it is inhabited by spirits. There are rituals and traditions tied to the lake, ways of showing respect to the water and the life it sustains. Even today, despite modern development, there is a sense of reverence around Lake Baikal, a recognition that this is not just a body of water, but a living monument to the deep history of the earth. Standing on the shore of Lake Baikal, you are looking at water that has been here for 25 million years. The lake has witnessed the rise and fall of countless species, the advance and retreat of ice ages, the slow drift of continents. It is a reminder that some things endure, that the earth creates structures so vast and stable that they outlast everything else. Lake Baikal is timeless, patient, eternal. Fact 19. The Namib Desert. The oldest desert on Earth, the Namib Desert, stretching along the coast of Namibia in southern Africa, is the oldest desert on Earth. It has been arid for at least 55 million years, and possibly much longer. While other deserts have come and gone, expanding and contracting with changes in climate, the Namib has remained, a constant presence through epochs of geological time. The desert is shaped by two forces: the cold Benguela current, which flows northward along the coast, and the hot interior of the African continent. The cold ocean current cools the air above it, creating fog but preventing rain clouds from forming. The result is a desert that receives almost no rainfall. Some areas get less than half an inch per year, but is frequently shrouded in fog. This fog is the lifeblood of the desert, providing moisture to the plants and animals that live here. The landscape of the Namib is otherworldly. Massive sand dunes, some over 1,000 feet high, stretch for miles, their shapes sculpted by the wind into perfect curves and ridges. The sand is a deep orange red, coloured by iron oxide, and it glows in the light of sunrise and sunset. The dunes are constantly moving, shifting grain by grain, yet they have been here for millions of years, part of a landscape that is both ancient and ever-changing. Life in the Namib has adapted to the extreme conditions in remarkable ways. The Welwitschia plant, found only in this desert, can live for over 2,000 years. It has only 2 leaves, which grow continuously throughout the plant's life, becoming long twisted ribbons that lie on the ground. The plant survives by absorbing moisture from the fog through its leaves. Some Welwitschia plants alive today were seedlings when the Roman Empire was at its height. The Namib is also home to beetles that have evolved a unique way of collecting water. The Namib desert beetle has a textured shell with hydrophilic bumps and hydrophobic valleys. When fog rolls in, water condenses on the bumps and rolls down the valleys into the beetle's mouth. This simple, elegant adaptation has inspired engineers designing water collection systems for arid regions. The desert is silent. There are no rivers, no forests, no cities. Just sand, rock, and sky. The wind is the only constant sound, a low whisper that has been blowing across these dunes for millions of years. At night, the desert is one of the darkest places on Earth, with no light pollution for hundreds of miles. The stars are so bright they cast shadows, and the Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light. There is a profound peace in the Namib. It is a place that has outlasted empires, species, and entire epochs of Earth's history. The desert does not hurry, it simply exists. Patient and unchanging, a monument to the power of time and the resilience of life. Fact 20. The giant sequoias, living monuments in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California, stand some of the largest and oldest living things on Earth, the giant sequoias. These trees can live for over 3,000 years, grow to heights of 300 feet, and reach diameters of 30 feet or more. They are not just trees, they are living monuments, witnesses to millennia of human history. The oldest known giant sequoia is over 3,200 years old. It was a seedling when the Trojan War was fought, when the pyramids of Egypt were already ancient. It has lived through the rise and fall of civilizations, through ice ages and warm periods, through droughts and floods, and it is still growing, still adding rings to its trunk, still reaching toward the sky. Giant sequoias grow slowly, but they grow for a very long time. A young sequoia might add only a few inches to its height each year, but over centuries this accumulates into something immense. The largest sequoia, known as General Sherman, has a trunk volume of over 52,000 cubic feet. Enough wood to build dozens of houses. It weighs an estimated 2.7 million pounds. Standing at its base and looking up, you cannot see the top. The tree disappears into the canopy, a column of living wood that seems to touch the sky. The bark of a giant sequoia is thick, up to 2 feet thick in some places, and it is fire resistant. The bark contains tannins that protect the tree from insects and disease, and it is so fibrous that it does not burn easily. This is crucial because fire is a natural part of the sequoia's ecosystem. The trees have evolved to survive fires, and in fact they depend on fire to reproduce. Sequoia cones are serotinous, meaning they remain closed until exposed to the heat of a fire. The fire opens the cones, releasing seeds onto the newly cleared forest floor, where they can germinate without competition from other plants. Walking through a sequoia grove is like walking through a cathedral. The trees are spaced far apart, and the forest floor is open and clear. Sunlight filters through the canopy in soft golden rays. The air is cool and smells of pine and earth. There is a deep silence, broken only by the occasional call of a bird or the rustle of wind in the branches high above. These trees have a presence that is difficult to describe. They are not just large, they are ancient, dignified, almost sentient in their stillness. To touch the bark of a 3,000-year-old tree is to connect with something that has existed far longer than any human civilization. It is humbling and awe-inspiring, a reminder that we are brief visitors on a planet that has been here for billions of years. The giant sequoias are a testament to the power of slow, steady growth. They do not rush. They simply grow year after year, century after century, until they become something monumental. They are proof that patience and persistence can create wonders. Fact 21. The Grand Canyon, a river's patient work. The Grand Canyon is one of the most iconic landscapes on Earth. A vast chasm carved into the Colorado Plateau by the Colorado River over millions of years. It is 277 miles long, up to 18 miles wide and over a mile deep. Standing on the rim and looking down, you are looking at nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history, exposed in layers of rock. The canyon was carved by the slow, relentless work of the river. Water is soft, but over time, it can cut through solid rock. The Colorado River has been flowing through this region for about 6 million years, carrying sediment and grinding away at the rock beneath it. The river cuts downward at a rate of only a few inches per 1,000 years, but over millions of years, this has created a canyon of staggering depth and complexity. The layers of rock in the canyon walls tell the story of Earth's history. At the bottom are the oldest rocks, ancient metamorphic and igneous formations that are nearly 2 billion years old. Above them are layers of sedimentary rock, sandstone, limestone, shale. each layer representing a different period in Earth's past. Some layers were formed in ancient seas, others in deserts, others in river deltas. Reading the layers is like reading a book, each chapter telling the story of a different environment, a different climate, a different world. The canyon is not just deep, it is also beautiful. The rock layers are coloured in shades of red, orange, yellow, and grey, creating a striped pattern that changes with the light. At sunrise and sunset, the canyon glows, the colours intensifying as the low-angle sunlight illuminates the walls. Shadows shift and change throughout the day, revealing new details, new textures, new depths. The canyon is also a place of profound silence. Away from the tourist viewpoints, in the backcountry, the only sounds are the wind and the distant rush of the river far below. The scale of the canyon is so vast that it seems to absorb sound, creating a stillness that is almost tangible. Standing on the rim, you feel small, insignificant, a brief flicker of consciousness in the face of geological time. The Grand Canyon is a reminder that the Earth is patient. The river did not carve this canyon in a day, or a year, or even a millennium. It took millions of years of slow, steady erosion, grain by grain, layer by layer. The canyon is still being carved today, the river still cutting downward, still carrying sediment to the sea. The work is not finished. It will never be finished. The Earth is always changing, always reshaping itself, on timescales that dwarf human lifetimes. Fact 22, the boreal forest, the quiet north stretching across the northern latitudes of North America, Europe, and Asia, is the boreal forest, also known as the taiga. It is the largest terrestrial biome on Earth, covering about 11% of the planet's land surface. This is a forest of conifers, spruce, fir, pine, and larch, adapted to the long cold winters and short summers of the far north. The boreal forest is a place of stillness. In winter, when temperatures can drop to -40 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, the forest is silent and frozen. Snow blankets the ground, muffling all sound. The trees stand like sentinels, their branches heavy with snow, their needles dark against the white landscape. The days are short in the far north, the sun barely rises above the horizon, and the nights are long and cold. Life in the boreal forest moves slowly. Trees grow at a fraction of the rate they do in temperate or tropical forests. A spruce tree might take 50 years to reach the height that a tropical tree reaches in 10, but the trees are adapted to the cold. Their needle-like leaves reduce water loss, and their conical shape sheds snow, preventing branches from breaking under the weight. The trees can photosynthesize even in the dim light of the northern winter, taking advantage of every available photon. The forest is home to animals that have adapted to the cold: moose, caribou, wolves, lynx, and bears. Many of these animals migrate or hibernate to survive the winter. The forest is also home to billions of birds that migrate here in the summer to breed, taking advantage of the long days and abundant insects. In summer, the boreal forest comes alive with the songs of warblers, thrushes, and sparrows. The boreal forest plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. The trees absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide, storing it in their wood and in the soil. The forest also influences the albedo of the planet, the amount of sunlight reflected back into space. In winter, when the forest is covered in snow, it reflects more sunlight, helping to cool the planet. The boreal forest is one of the Earth's great carbon sinks, quietly absorbing carbon and helping to stabilize the climate. There is a deep peace in the boreal forest. It is a place of solitude, far from cities and roads. The forest stretches for thousands of miles, unbroken except for rivers and lakes. In the silence of the forest, you can hear the wind in the trees, the creak of branches, the distant call of a raven. It is a place where time seems to slow down, where the rhythms of life are measured in seasons and years rather than hours and days. The boreal forest is a reminder that the earth is vast, but there are still places where nature dominates, where human influence is minimal. It is a place of quiet strength, a forest that has endured for thousands of years and will endure for thousands more. Fact 23. The midnight sun and polar night. The extremes of light at the far northern and southern latitudes. Beyond the Arctic and Antarctic circles, the sun behaves in ways that seem impossible. In summer, the sun never sets, circling the sky for weeks or even months. This is the midnight sun, a phenomenon where daylight is continuous, 24 hours a day. In winter, the opposite occurs. The sun never rises, and the land is plunged into darkness for weeks or months. This is the polar night. These extremes are caused by the tilt of Earth's axis. The Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees relative to its orbit around the Sun. During summer in the Northern Hemisphere, the North Pole is tilted toward the Sun, and the Sun's rays strike the Arctic at a low angle, never dipping below the horizon. During winter, the North Pole is tilted away from the Sun, and the Sun never rises above the horizon. The midnight sun is a surreal experience. The sun circles the sky, dipping low near the horizon at midnight but never setting. The light is soft and golden, casting long shadows that rotate slowly as the sun moves. There is no true night, only a twilight that lasts for hours. People who live in these regions often cover their windows to sleep, or they adjust their schedules to the constant daylight. The polar night is equally strange. For weeks or months, the sun does not rise. The sky is dark, though not completely black. There is often a faint glow on the horizon, a reminder that the sun is just below the edge of the world. The stars are visible all day, and the aurora is more common during the polar night, dancing across the sky in brilliant displays of green and purple. Life in these extreme conditions requires adaptation. Animals like polar bears, Arctic foxes, and reindeer have evolved to survive the long darkness and the long light. Some animals migrate, leaving the Arctic in winter and returning in summer. Others, like the Arctic fox, change colour with the seasons, turning white in winter to blend with the snow and brown in summer to blend with the tundra. The midnight sun and polar night are reminders of the Earth's tilt, of the way our planet moves through space. They are extreme manifestations of the seasons, the result of the same axial tilt that gives us spring, summer, fall, and winter. They are a testament to the diversity of experiences on Earth, to the fact that different parts of the planet live in fundamentally different worlds. We have travelled far together, to the depths of the ocean, to the frozen heart of Antarctica, to ancient forests and timeless deserts. But now it is time to return home, to the present moment, to the quiet beauty that surrounds us every day. Earth is not just a collection of extreme places and ancient wonders. It is also the gentle rain on your window, the sunset painting the sky, the soil beneath your feet. Tonight, in our final chapter, we celebrate the ordinary miracles, the everyday phenomena that make Earth a home worth cherishing. Fact 24. The daily miracle of photosynthesis. Every day, all around you, a quiet miracle is taking place. Plants are capturing sunlight and transforming it into life. This is photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert light energy into chemical energy, creating the food that sustains nearly all life on Earth. It is happening right now, in every leaf, every blade of grass, every microscopic algae cell in the ocean. The process is elegant in its simplicity. Inside plant cells are structures called chloroplasts, which contain a green pigment called chlorophyll. When sunlight strikes a chlorophyll molecule, It excites electrons, setting off a chain of chemical reactions. The plant uses this energy to split water molecules, releasing oxygen as a byproduct. The hydrogen from the water is combined with carbon dioxide from the air to create glucose, a simple sugar that the plant uses for energy and growth. This process has been happening for over 3 billion years, since the first photosynthetic bacteria evolved in Earth's ancient oceans. Those early organisms transformed the planet, filling the atmosphere with oxygen and making it possible for complex life to evolve. Every breath you take contains oxygen produced by photosynthesis, both from plants alive today and from ancient organisms whose oxygen has been cycling through the atmosphere for millions of years. Photosynthesis is also the foundation of the food chain. Plants use the glucose they produce to build leaves, stems, roots, and seeds. Herbivores eat the plants, carnivores eat the herbivores, and decomposers break down the dead, returning nutrients to the soil. Every calorie of energy in this chain ultimately comes from sunlight, captured and converted by plants. We are all, in a very real sense, eating sunlight. The scale of photosynthesis is staggering. Every year, plants on land and algae in the ocean produce about 100 billion tons of organic matter through photosynthesis. They absorb about 120 billion tons of carbon dioxide and release about 70 billion tons of oxygen. This is the planet breathing, inhaling carbon dioxide and exhaling oxygen in a cycle that has sustained life for billions of years. There is something deeply peaceful about photosynthesis. It is a slow, quiet process happening all around us, asking nothing in return. The plants do not hurry. They simply stand in the sunlight, absorbing energy, growing, living. They are patient, resilient, and generous, producing the oxygen we breathe and the food we eat. Photosynthesis is a reminder that the most important processes on Earth are often the quietest, the most easily overlooked. Fact 25. The healing power of soil beneath your feet. In the soil, there is an entire world. A single teaspoon of healthy soil contains more microorganisms than there are people on Earth. Billions of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes, all living, eating, reproducing, and dying in a complex ecosystem. This is the soil microbiome, and it is one of the most important and least appreciated systems on the planet. Soil is not just dirt, it is a living matrix, a combination of mineral particles, organic matter, water, air, and countless organisms. The organisms in the soil break down dead plant and animal material, releasing nutrients that plants can absorb. They also help create soil structure, binding particles together into aggregates that hold water and air. Without these organisms, soil would be lifeless dust, incapable of supporting plant growth. The formation of soil is a slow process. It can take hundreds or even thousands of years to form just a few inches of topsoil. The process begins with the weathering of rock, physical breakdown from freezing and thawing, chemical breakdown from water and acids. Lichens and mosses colonize the bare rock, secreting acids that further break it down. As these organisms die, they add organic matter, creating a thin layer of soil. Over time, more plants grow, more organic matter accumulates, and the soil deepens. Healthy soil is dark and crumbly, with a rich, earthy smell. This smell comes from a compound called geosmin, produced by soil bacteria called actinomycetes. Geosmin is one of the most potent smells in nature. Humans can detect it at concentrations as low as 5 parts per trillion. The smell of rain on dry soil, called petrichor, is largely due to geosmin being released into the air when raindrops hit the ground. Soil plays a crucial role in the carbon cycle. It stores more carbon than the atmosphere and all the world's plants combined. When plants die, their carbon is incorporated into the soil, where it can remain for decades, centuries, or even millennia. Healthy soil, rich in organic matter, is a carbon sink, helping to regulate the planet's climate. But when soil is degraded by erosion, overuse, or poor management, it releases carbon back into the atmosphere, contributing to climate change. There is a deep connection between soil and life. We come from the soil. The atoms in our bodies were once in the soil, absorbed by plants, eaten by animals, passed up the food chain. And we return to the soil. When we die, our bodies decompose, and our atoms are recycled back into the earth. Soil is the foundation of life, the quiet, patient medium that sustains us all. Fact 26: the geometry of snowflakes. When winter comes and the temperature drops, water vapor in the atmosphere freezes, forming snowflakes. Each snowflake is a tiny crystal of ice, and each one is unique, shaped by the specific conditions it encountered as it fell through the sky. Snowflakes are one of nature's most beautiful examples of spontaneous order, of complexity arising from simple rules. A snowflake begins as a tiny ice crystal, formed when water vapor condenses around a particle of dust or pollen in a cloud. The crystal is hexagonal with 6 sides because of the way water molecules bond together when they freeze. As the crystal falls through the cloud, it encounters different temperatures and humidity levels, and it grows, adding layers of ice in intricate patterns. The shape of the snowflake depends on the temperature and humidity. At temperatures just below freezing, snowflakes tend to be simple hexagonal plates. At colder temperatures, they form needles or columns. At intermediate temperatures, they form the classic 6-pointed stars with elaborate branches and side branches. The exact shape is determined by the path the snowflake takes through the cloud. And since no 2 snowflakes take exactly the same path, no 2 snowflakes are exactly alike. The complexity of snowflakes is astonishing. Some have simple, geometric shapes. Others are incredibly intricate, with delicate branches and sub-branches, each one perfectly symmetrical. The symmetry arises because all 6 arms of the snowflake experience the same conditions at the same time, so they grow in the same way. But the overall shape is unique, a record of the snowflake's journey through the sky. Snowflakes are also incredibly fragile. They are made of ice, but the ice is arranged in delicate, lacy structures that can be broken by the slightest touch. When snowflakes land on the ground, they often break apart, their intricate shapes lost. But in the right conditions, when the air is very cold and the snow is dry, snowflakes can remain intact, piling up in layers of pristine, unbroken crystals. There is a quiet beauty in snowflakes. They are ephemeral, existing for only a brief time before they melt or break apart. But in that brief existence, they are perfect, each one a unique work of art created by the simple laws of physics and chemistry. Snowflakes are a reminder that beauty does not require intention or design. It can arise spontaneously from the interaction of simple rules and random chance. Fact 27: the music of whales in the depths of the ocean. Whales sing. Their songs are complex, haunting, and beautiful, long sequences of moans, groans, and whistles that can last for hours and travel for hundreds of miles through the water. These songs are one of the most remarkable forms of communication in the animal kingdom, and they are still not fully understood. Humpback whales are the most famous singers. Male humpbacks produce songs during the breeding season, repeating the same sequence of sounds over and over. The songs can last for 10 to 20 minutes, and the whales will sing them continuously for hours or even days. All the males in a population sing the same song, but the song changes over time, evolving gradually as new phrases are added and old ones are dropped. Within a few years, the song can be completely different. The purpose of the songs is not entirely clear. They may be a way for males to attract females or to establish dominance over other males, or simply to communicate their presence to other whales. The songs are loud, up to 180 decibels, louder than a jet engine, and they can be heard by other whales hundreds of miles away. In the quiet depths of the ocean, sound is the primary means of communication, and whales have evolved to use it with extraordinary sophistication. Other whales also produce sounds. Blue whales, the largest animals on Earth, produce low-frequency calls that can travel thousands of miles through the ocean. These calls are so low, around 10 to 40 hertz, that they are at the edge of human hearing. Sperm whales produce clicks which they use for echolocation, bouncing sound off objects to navigate and hunt in the dark depths. Orcas produce a variety of calls, whistles, and clicks, and different pods have different dialects passed down from generation to generation. Listening to whale songs is a profound experience. The sounds are alien, yet strangely familiar. Mournful, melodic, almost musical. They are a reminder that we share this planet with other intelligent beings, creatures with their own languages, their own cultures, their own ways of experiencing the world. The ocean is not silent. It is filled with the voices of whales, a symphony that has been playing for millions of years. There is a sadness in whale songs too. Whales are threatened by hunting, pollution, and climate change. Their populations have been decimated, and some species are on the brink of extinction. The songs that once filled the ocean are becoming quieter, as fewer whales remain to sing them. But there is also hope. Conservation efforts have allowed some whale populations to recover, and the songs are returning. The ocean is healing, slowly, and the whales are singing again. Fact 28. The quiet strength of lichen. Lichen is easy to overlook. It grows on rocks, on tree bark, on old fences and gravestones, appearing as patches of grey, green or orange crust. But lichen is one of the most remarkable organisms on Earth, a partnership between a fungus and an alga or cyanobacterium, living together in a symbiotic relationship that allows them to survive in some of the harshest environments on the planet. The fungus provides structure and protection, forming a tough outer layer that shields the alga from desiccation and UV radiation. The alga or cyanobacterium photosynthesizes, producing sugars that feed both itself and the fungus. Together they can survive in places where neither could live alone, on bare rock, in deserts, in the Arctic tundra, even in the vacuum of space. Lichen grows slowly. Some species grow only a millimeter per year, and the largest lichen colonies can be thousands of years old. But this slow growth is also a strength. Lichen is patient, persistent, and resilient. It can survive extreme temperatures, drought, and radiation. It can go dormant for years, then resume growing when conditions improve. It is one of the first organisms to colonize bare rock, breaking down the surface and creating soil for other plants. Lichen also plays a crucial role in ecosystems. It is a food source for animals like caribou and reindeer, especially in winter when other food is scarce. It absorbs nutrients from the air and rain, and when it dies, it releases those nutrients into the soil. Lichen is also an indicator of air quality. It is sensitive to pollution, and its presence or absence can tell scientists about the health of the environment. There is a quiet beauty in lichen. It is unassuming, almost invisible, yet it is everywhere. It transforms bare rock into living color, creating patterns and textures that are endlessly varied. Lichen is a reminder that life is tenacious, that it can find a way even in the most unlikely places. It is a testament to the power of cooperation, of two organisms working together to achieve what neither could achieve alone. Fact 29. The eternal now, the present moment. We have traveled far in this journey, exploring the wonders of Earth, the deep ocean, the ancient forests, the hidden networks, the timeless landscapes. But the greatest wonder of all is the simplest, the present moment, the here and now, the fact that you are alive, breathing, aware. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Life has existed for nearly 4 billion years. Your ancestors, an unbroken chain of organisms stretching back to the first cells, survived every catastrophe, every extinction, every challenge that the planet threw at them. They survived ice ages and asteroid impacts, droughts and floods, predators and diseases, and because they survived, you are here. You are made of atoms forged in the hearts of stars, atoms that have cycled through the Earth for billions of years. The carbon in your cells was once in the atmosphere, absorbed by a plant, eaten by an animal, returned to the soil and absorbed again. The water in your body has been part of oceans, clouds, rivers, and rain. You are not separate from the Earth. You are part of it, a temporary arrangement of atoms that will one day return to the soil and the sea. The present moment is all we have. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. But right now, in this moment, you are alive. You can feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. You can hear the sounds around you. You can see the light, feel the temperature, sense the world. This is the miracle, not the grand, distant wonders, but the simple fact of existence, of consciousness, of being here, now. The Earth will continue long after we are gone. The continents will drift, the mountains will rise and erode, the ocean will ebb and flow. New species will evolve and old ones will go extinct. The sun will continue to rise and set. The seasons will turn, the water will cycle through the atmosphere. The Earth is patient, enduring, eternal. But you are here now, in this brief moment of cosmic time. You are part of the Earth's story, a single note in a symphony that has been playing for billions of years. And that is enough. That is everything. Take a deep breath. Feel the ancient air filling your lungs. Know that you are home, that you have always been home, that the Earth is not just a planet but a living, breathing system of which you are an inseparable part. Rest now in the knowledge that you are connected to everything, to the soil, the water, the air, the stars. You are the Earth, aware of itself, if only for a moment. Sleep well, traveler. You are home.